Let's get a divorce." Sitting in the living room, my pregnancy at full term, I couldn't fully comprehend those words coming out of my husband's mouth. The man who at the altar had sworn to love me for life was asking me for a divorce with a face of absolute shamelessness. In that instant, betrayed by the person I trusted most, my whole world came crashing down. However, Emily smiled as she signed the divorce papers. What they didn't know then was that this hellish moment would be the true beginning that would completely change Emily's life. My name is Emily, and I am 34 years old. Until 3 years ago, I worked as a manager at a coffee shop for a well-known franchise. It was there that I met my husband, James. The early days of our marriage were truly happy. On weekends, we would walk hand in hand through our Philadelphia neighborhood. We laughed at any silly thing, and when we entered a coffee shop, we marveled to discover that we both wanted to order the exact same thing. Back then, I never doubted for a second that he would be my unconditional support for life. But when did everything start to change? James began coming home later and later from work. At first, I thought he was just very busy. However, even when he was home, our conversations dwindled. We used to sit together on the couch, watching TV and chatting about everything, but lately, we each just stared at our own phones. As my belly grew, so did the distance between us. More and more nights, though we shared a bed, we slept with our backs to each other. Sometimes, half asleep, I would reach out to his side of the bed and find it already cold. When I heard his stealthy footsteps heading to the living room in the early morning, I would pretend to be asleep while clutching the sheets tightly. It was then that I first discovered you could feel an immense loneliness while living under the same roof as another person. Now, 8 months pregnant, the weight of my belly made my back feel like it was breaking, and my legs were so swollen that the marks from my socks stayed etched into my skin. Lately, the ones who took care of me most in my condition were not my husband, but my parents. Today, once again, my parents came to the house with their hands full of Tupperware containers for their only daughter. "Dad, why do you bring so many things?" "Your mother spent the whole day at the market and cooking for you," my father said. "Even if you don't have much of an appetite, eat well." "That's right," my mother added as she put the food in the fridge. "I've made you a good beef stew, which I know you love, and also some homemade meatloaf for James. Eat together when he gets home from work." That night, tired of waiting for James, Emily heated up and ate the stew her mother had brought, all alone. The warm broth comforted her body and soul, making her feel the immense love of her parents. Sitting alone at the dining table late at night, tears began to well up in her eyes. She didn't know if she was crying from gratitude for her parents' unconditional love or from the disappointment of a husband who, once again, was not coming home. Before, James used to come straight home after work. The sound of the front door opening would make me smile without realizing it, but lately, everything was different. Almost daily, I would receive a text from him saying he had to work overtime on a team project. The nights he spent out, which used to be 1 a week, were now 3 or 4. One day, when he came home late, I cautiously asked, "Have you had dinner? Where did you sleep last night?" James loosened his tie and sighed. "Stop nagging, please. I'm exhausted." I went to the kitchen, got a glass of water, and just stood there for a long time. I could only feel my fingertips growing cold, but there were more strange things. His phone, which he used to leave lying on the couch, he now took with him even to the bathroom. One night, while he was showering, I tried to look at his phone, but the passcode had been changed. "Why did you change the passcode?" "We had a security training at the company. They told us to change it periodically." "But why are you looking at my phone?" he asked, irritated. While sorting the laundry, I found expensive lingerie that I didn't recognize. In the bathroom, there was also a bottle of unfamiliar perfume, a sweet and intense scent. Suddenly, I saw my reflection in the mirror. My face, swollen from pregnancy, my lifeless hair. Was James dressing up more because he was disgusted with my current appearance? I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but I held them back. One night, sitting alone on the sofa in the empty living room, watching TV without seeing it, a notification from Instagram made my phone buzz. Sarah, my high school classmate and friend of 20 years, had just posted a photo. It was an image of two intertwined hands, one of a man and one of a woman, with matching rings. Only the hands were visible, so you couldn't tell who he was. Last year she had a tough time after breaking up with her boyfriend, but it seemed she had met someone new. I called her. "Sarah, do you have a new boyfriend?" "Yes, I've met someone wonderful. I think we'll get married soon." "Wow, congratulations. We have to get together so you can tell me all about it and introduce me." "Of course, we'll see. See you soon." "Hey Emily, I'm a little busy right now. I'll call you later, okay?" And she hung up. Although it was a brief conversation, I was happy that Sarah was happy again. However, it seemed a bit strange that she, being so talkative, hung up in such a hurry. I had a strange feeling, but I quickly dismissed it. The next day, coming back from the grocery store, I found a credit card statement in the mailbox, $900 at a high-end maternity boutique and $2,500 at a luxury department store. When had I bought that? It wasn't like me to spend like that. The sum exceeded $3,000 in a single month. Maternity clothes, I read. What if James was preparing a surprise for me? Perhaps he felt guilty for coming home late lately and for being so distant, and he had bought me a gift. The disappointment I felt transformed into a small spark of hope. I felt the baby kick in my belly and, stroking my stomach, I whispered, "It seems Daddy has a gift for us." Excited, I called James. "Honey, will you be home soon? We could go out for a nice dinner tonight. I have to